My name's Ash, and this is Graham. Welcome to Lenovo Tech Talks. Today we've got something slightly different. We're in a different studio environment, and actually we've got 3 new products to talk about. This is our 2nd generation X13. We have our 9th generation X1 Carbon and the 6th generation X1 Yoga. Just before we get into this, I can't believe this is on the 9th generation. I remember the first one, it's amazing. So the reason why we've put all these 3 together is that they are brand new products in the 2021 lineup. So they've been redesigned from the ground up. But there are some similarities between the 3, which is something we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, I mean, they're all very similar in dimensions and weight for sure, with the, as the name suggests, the X13 being 13-inch, when we get the Carbon and Yoga, 14-inch. But they're all in that space of that sort of very thin and light, but still very capable, full-function notebooks.
That's right. We've put them through some degree of modernising. So there are certain features specific to them because they have been designed from the ground up. So one of the things, and I love this because it makes so much sense, we should have done it years ago, it's the 16:10 ratio screen. If you think about it, 16:9 is the ratio that Hollywood specified 15, 20 years ago. I don't know, it's been that long, hasn't it? And you know, this is when TVs were 4:3, and then they started going wide to widescreen. Laptops went to widescreen. But let's face it, none of us are sat there watching movies all day. It just doesn't make sense. Well, most of us. It just doesn't make sense for working on Office documents. So to go to 16:10, a slightly taller screen, it just makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the great thing is it means we can go to a 4-side even bezel, but without changing the ergonomics of the device, which is the fundamentals. There's no point going, oh, look, our screen's nice and pleasing to the eye, if the way we use the device has been impacted. So we've been able to go 4-side even, and something I could do with reducing the size of that chin, that lower part of the bezel. So yeah, a lot more screen real estate now, and more importantly, the ergonomics are exactly the same, but we have managed to get the trackpads bigger as well, which is a really neat feature, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the extra sort of depth to the chassis has enabled us to go for a bigger trackpad. And they've changed the material of the trackpad as well. It is silky smooth. It's a much enhanced trackpad experience, I think. So that's great. We are keeping the buttons. We'll never get rid of the buttons again. And the good thing is that the keyboard is the same amazing award-winning ThinkPad keyboard that we've had for ages. Now, one thing, we mentioned this earlier, and this is great, that it's actually got up-facing speakers on all 3 models now, isn't it? You can just see them along the top and the sides here.
Yeah, we've always had good audio with the Dolby enhancement because people want lighter laptops all the time, but you end up with speakers, they're like contact lens for my size, but you still need more so, we found in the last year, good vocal reproduction.
Yeah.
Low-end tones, high-end for the actual definition. But then a lot of the packaging constraints meant we had speakers firing downwards, sideways, and things like that. And any time you're sort of on soft furnishings, you're going to lose a bit of that clarity. So the redesign has enabled our designers to put those speakers up the top and just boost that clarity just that little bit more. With that Dolby enhancement as well, it's amazing. The difference, turning it on and off is like having a speaker on a phone being tinny, you know, an annoying teenager on the train kind of thing. Or it's like a Bluetooth external speaker. That jump up is amazing. Yeah,
it is, and you know, this has really it's born from the development of our the development team looking at home workers, remote workers. You know, we're spending pretty much all of our time in front of a computer, and the amount of video conferencing we're doing is insane these days. So it's crucial that a device that's used for so much video conferencing, of course, has a fantastic video conferencing experience. So what we've been working for, and actually we were working on these anyway, it's just the pandemic has really accelerated the development of this, is great cameras. We're not going for megapixels, 48 megapixels here, because you just don't need it for video conferencing. You need a really high quality camera that's good in low light conditions. Great speakers, like you say, designed for vocal range, and high quality microphones that are again designed for vocal range pickup.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, not everyone's got the ability to sort of go and watch a YouTube video that says, make sure you sit in front of a window or get some lights and things. I mean, my own home setup, I'm sitting with a window behind me. But the low light and auto exposure of these cameras, that low light capability means that people aren't looking at a silhouette of me. They probably want to, but they're not. You know, they're getting me, and it's balancing out. I'm not having to worry about tweaking the settings every time I sort of shift my weight or anything. We want to make it as easy for people to go with video first communication without having to worry about tweaking anything. It should just work out the box at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we talked about the design, super lightweight, the 6x10 screen, the enhanced video conferencing capabilities, speakers and so on. Something else that's common across the three platforms, and actually you could say it's about most of the ThinkPads. Now, we've gone thinner and lighter. Now, we have our Nano, of course, one of your favourites, Graham, which is it's only 900 grams. It's so light. And we have our titanium, which is one of my favourites. It's like a yoga format, but it's thinner than the first ever iPad was at launch. It's just incredibly thin. The problem with these devices is that we can't put the same amount of connectivity, the same amount of ports in. So if you look at these devices here, you see they are bristling with connectivity along the edges. So this is about as thin and as light as we can go, I guess, without having to restrict the amount of ports that are on the side. And I'm always plugging things in and out, so I love to have this connectivity. Yeah,
it always amuses me when people want sort of the lightest laptop going, but then they want a wash bag full of dongles just to go about their daily business. So you're quite right, when you've got Thunderbolt ports on here, Thunderbolt 4 as well, 4K external screens off a laptop. I mean, a couple of years ago, you needed a graphics card and a desktop to do that kind of thing. Now you've got that on the go, HDMI, regular USB. Yeah, I can't see a need, until they reduce RJ45s into something a bit slimmer, I can't see a need for tweaking this at all anymore.
That's right. And actually now with wireless connectivity, the need for RJ45 is getting less and less. And of course, people working from home as well, unless there's the geeky nerds like us, they probably won't have RJ45 requirements and super fast cabling. So all three devices have amazing capabilities in terms of wireless connectivity. So we have the Wi-Fi 6 in these devices, which when we get the regulation in the UK, will become Wi-Fi 6. And of course, you have the option for 4G or 5G in these devices as well. And it might not be so important today, I guess, but in terms of accessing your cloud-based work in the future from wherever you are, is really important.
Yes, it's interesting you say might not be important today, because if someone's buying one of these devices, it's got to be relevant 2022, 2023, 2024. Who knows, maybe a bit longer. So we need to make sure that we've got enough capabilities in this device for it to be a useful tool for a good few years.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about similarities, and actually there are similarities beyond some of the physical things we're talking about. So, you can have the same drivers, you've got the same docking, the same components, the same deployment tools, same management tools, and this is a real strength of ThinkPad, is uniformity across the range. But these two are slightly different, of course, from Yoga. The X13, this is coming in about 1.2 kilograms and is what we call a clamshell. So it lies flat, it opens like a normal laptop. Likewise, the X1 Carbon is, of course, a clamshell, and you can lay it flat. This is 1.1 kilograms. The X1 Yoga is aluminium and a bit heavier, but there's a good reason why.
But it does that.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty good reason why.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favourite just because of the fact I've done the detachables, I've done the tablets, I've tried all those different things, and I admit it, and lots of people who use detachables admit it, they very rarely take the keyboard off.
Yeah.
So rather than have a tablet trying to be a full-blown PC, I prefer a PC that when I need it to be, converts into a tablet.
Yeah.
And, I'll be honest, the last year it wasn't that often, but I'm looking forward to getting out and about and, hanging it off the back of a tray table on a train seat and things like that. But it's that tablet and that pen functionality when I need it without the compromise of the full-function notebook.
That's right. And the integrated stylus, of course, is unique to Lenovo. And it's something it was really successful with when it was first launched, because it's quite different from any other solution out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a capacitor rather than a battery. So normally with a battery, turning all that electrical energy into chemical energy back again takes some time, but with a capacitor, it basically stores electricity. So that means in terms of charging time, I pop that in there for a minute, and I've got about 5 hours of writing. Now, even if I was sitting, I don't know, veterinary surgeon finals or something like that, I don't think the written exam's 5 hours. So it's going to last a good while. But also, because it isn't using a battery in there, I haven't got to go into the hearing aid aisle of a chemist or something like that to try and find bespoke batteries. So in terms of running costs, in terms of working with this, it's a lot better. But just being able to have that pen everywhere I go built in, rather than having some magnetic thing or a little loop, or did I put it in my other jacket pocket or anything like that, it's a real compelling feature for me personally.
Absolutely, and it is still a favourite of so many people. I mean, you can have touchscreen on these devices, of course. We can have integrated touchscreen, but if you want to go for the full experience where you can lean on the screen and write on it, then the Yoga is, of course, the way forward. So, in many ways, quite similar, but also in some ways very different, and which is why we don't just have one product, we've split them into 3 here. And of course we have the full range of ThinkPad products, from our folding device where the screen folds in half, the X1 Fold, all the way down to our L and E series, which are solid workhorse laptops. I guess the only other thing to say across them is the military ruggedization, which is so crucial for the ThinkPad range.
Yeah, well, I think we're on 810H now, mil-spec 810H. About 23 different procedures. I mean, they're all from sort of temperature shock, low temperature, high temperature, fungal resistance to fungal infection. One of my favourite ones, all of these are certified for use in explosive atmospheres. It doesn't have to be some kind of Jack Bauer briefcase special for use in hazardous environments. Even our thinnest, lightest devices have got that kind of durability. It's really key.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think what kind of environments that might work in. But
I've got a customer who's got a perfume factory. So their environment is as explosive and hazardous as an oil rig, believe it or not.
Wow.
So they have to have everyone in there dressed like Homer Simpson with the sort of Tyvek suits on, and they can't take anything into the environment that hasn't been certified for use in explosive environments.
Well, there you go. I knew you'd have an example, Graham. So thanks for your time, Graham. Thanks for your time for listening, and please keep an eye out for more Lenovo Tech Talk videos. Thank you.
Thank you.